What up, what up, what up? You tuned in to the Jose Morales podcast where we talk sports, business, and everything in between. I am your host, Jose Morales, and we're at my boxing academy. Joining me in the ring today is the man you probably seen at the halftime shows. Probably seen him opening for Kiss, Snoop Dogg, Blue Man Group. Or you probably seen him getting bowled up by me. No, I'm playing. The man, David Garibaldi, David.
Thank you. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here. This is my first time to your gym.
Yeah, it is.
I'm very, very impressed. I'm inspired. I'm the everything in between.
Oh, really?
You said the fight, the boxing business. I'm the all in between.
Yeah,
so.
you are.
We'll get it covered.
Thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you.
He was actually 3 hours late, but he finally made it. I told him I was going to throw that in there.
This is true. No, yeah. You know, it's crazy, and I'll get right into it. My whole week of shows were canceled.
Yeah.
And, you know, those of you that don't know what I do, I'm a performance painter. I create these large portraits and minutes to music at live events where large gatherings of people come together, and that all over the world has been canceled. And so we're, you know, one, I get a much needed break. But two, I was changing flights all week. Like, oh, that's canceled. Oh, that too. Okay, cool. So got a little mixed around. But thank you.
A hard time.
But thank you for fitting me in.
No,
I appreciate
thank you for coming. For real, it was amazing. It's amazing to be around you guys. Last time, those that do not know, I met David through Chatty. They're actually, you guys been together for a while. We went bowling and played pool a couple months ago.
Hold on. We went and had dinner. And then we knew we were gonna do something afterwards, so we're like, and we're all competitive. Like, here's the thing, I love to paint, but I love a good game. You know, like let's just, I like golf. You know, let's put a little dollar on per hole. But so that night we were at Mexican food. And then you're like, let's go bowl. So we went to the busiest bowling place in Sacramento. So it was like hours long to wait for a lane. So
he's lying.
So I think Jose picked this place, and he knew that there was a pool hall in the bar area. So he's like, well, why don't we just go play pool? Like, I'm like, yeah, it's been years since I did it. And he's like, I'm going to go get my pool stick from the car. I'm like, ha, so funny. This guy walks in with a pool stick. And I just knew at that point the game has changed.
Yes.
Like, what if I walked in with my a bowling ball on my shoes? You know, I'd be worried.
This guy can bowl too, though.
I mean,
he was getting down because you guys beat us in the bowling, right? Yeah, you guys won in the bowling.
Yeah, it was a win-win night.
It was a win-win. Yes. Yeah, it was an amazing time. We were laughing.
What did you win though? Remember? Do you remember what we put on the line? It wasn't money. It was.
I know. I had to do a video of some bullshit. That's what I remember.
So what Jose? I won in bowling. Yeah, you won. Like basically, video being nice and complimenting me.
Why do you have to remember? Why do you remember that? Crap?
Oh, and then what he won because he beat us in pool was for a week. I had to repost on Instagram each of his posts on my story and be like, this is fire. This is awesome. Yeah. People are like, why is he so into boxing lately?
Yeah. I had a few people tell me, hey, what you do to him? Why do you like you so much? Why is he like? No, I'm playing now.
Oh, man.
But good time. So the reason why I wanted to have David on here, I wanted to not only share your story, but get people familiar with your success, a successful story from SAC. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love that. I heard, I didn't know this about you, but I was doing my homework about you, and you were born in L.A.
Yes.
I didn't know
So I was born in Whittier, which is in the L.A.
Whittier.
area.
Yeah, I know where that is.
And my parents were born and grew up in Los Angeles, all over. My dad grew up in South Central. My mom grew up in La Habra. And so they met. I was born there. And then my dad got an offer to work for a company here in Sacramento when I was around 5 years old. And so that's what brought us up here in the early 80s during a time when Sacramento, there was nothing here. I mean, there was literally cow fields. So, but yeah, my family is in LA. I have roots there, but I would say I wasn't really raised there. I was definitely raised in Sacramento. This is home for sure.
What nationality are you?
It's a big debate, but I believe
debate.
It's a debate.
23andMe. I did
23andMe. Yeah. So it says that I'm pretty much half Mexican, and the other half is everything but Asian. But my mom and my family thinks that we're something else. I'm like, look, I'll follow the science. I'm half Mexican, and the other half is mixed with everything but Asian.
But Asian.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
when I met you, I like how you said Garibaldi. I thought you were Italian. Remember, you were like,
I like to throw it around,
Garibaldi.
when I want to
Let me
feel
check this
important.
guy out.
Garibaldi. They're like, wow, it's legit. He's legit.
It's legit.
Yeah, he had a Italian accent. Anything.
Yeah. So the first time I saw you, it was at a Kings game. You painted Tyreek Evans. That was the first
Wow.
time I saw
Yeah.
you. I think it was like 2009.
Yeah, whenever Tyreek Evans was the rookie, because he was rookie of the year.
Yeah, 2009. That's the
Yeah.
first time I saw you.
Yeah.
And I was like, how the fuck did he do that? And,
yeah.
and I happened,
What did you think at first, though, when you saw it? There's no portrait there. What were your first thoughts?
First I was like, what is this guy doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what is he going to do? That's what really was going through my mind.
Yeah.
And then when you started painting and you started adding little by little, doing more, and I'm like, kind of like, is this guy really about to do this? And then I'm like, wait, is he really doing it? And then it started more and more and more. I'm like, he really did do it.
Yeah.
That motherfucker really painted somebody.
Yeah.
I thought, I was amazed. I was like, that's pretty dope.
Oh, thank
like
you.
can do it in like that.
And I love performing at those events, like sporting events and sporting crowds. For the first part is normally sports crowds are not known for cheering on the arts.
Yeah.
It's like the opposite. But the way that my process is, it's a lot like, maybe watching one of your teams start to lose the game and then they come back from behind.
Yeah.
When you see the painting at first, it's like some, dabs here and there, and you're like, I don't know if he's going to pull it off tonight.
Yeah.
How much time does he have left?
Yeah.
The clock's ticking. We get down to the, buzzer beater and slap my hand and the portrait's done. And then the audience cheers like that moment. And I love these, and I've only learned this over time, the parallels between, just the art, sport of what I do and sports in general and being around that world. It's been very
How did
interesting.
you come up with that idea to do it that way too? How did that come up?
So I didn't invent performance painting. There's an artist, Denny Dent. He started in the early 80s. It became very popular in the 90s, and then he passed away in 2005. I started in 2003. So that's when I came across his work. And there was a couple people after him that did it at that high level. And I mean performing for presidents, kings, queens, celebrities. And I thought, I don't know what this is. I don't know who he is. When I saw it, I didn't even really know how he did it. I was just inspired by the mixture of music, sound, and movement, which was my whole past.
Yeah.
And I just started teaching myself. I didn't ask questions, didn't ask permission. I'm like, I don't know. I don't care what it is. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to rewind a little bit. When you were growing up,
Yeah.
were you always into painting, or was this something that kind of grew upon you later on? Like, when did
Yeah.
this love for painting and drawing and all that come about?
I was always into it. I was always into drawing. To the level where, I would draw around the clock. My parents could always find me creating something. And then but I also got into music in third grade. So I was still doing art, and then I added music. I played the trumpet from third grade to high school. And then that went away. And then middle school, I was still doing art, but also doing graffiti. So there was always these other things added to the art. And then later on in high school, I got into dance as well. But art, again, was always this constant in my life. It was like how I identified with myself and who I am was just art. And I loved it. I loved the daily challenge of drawing, sketching, filling up sketchbooks.
When did you realize you had some serious skill that you could do it as a career?
As a career, didn't come until high school. I had a very special art teacher that changed my perspective about you can actually have a real career in the arts and actually make great money, contribute to culture. And that changed my perspective. So that was high school. But I would say before that, I knew I wanted to do art for a living. I just didn't know how. I didn't know what direction or the tools. And that teacher was the one that said, you know what? Here's some tools. Here's a direction. If you do this, follow that. And I was kind of set on a path per se. But then eventually when I didn't graduate high school. So that kind of threw me off a little bit.
What was going through your mind at that time? Why'd you drop out? What happened?
The first couple years of high school, I was very unfocused.
It could be normal. I mean, I also dropped out of high school.
Oh, did you?
It was something we have in common.
What year were you just like, I'm done? Like
Junior year.
Yeah. I actually checked out before. It was freshman and sophomore year. I checked out. And then I didn't start taking it serious until I got more into art in my junior year. So even though I started doing better junior, senior year, it was too late to make up for credits. I was a senior in these freshman classes, and I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm done. And I just gave up on that part of myself. But what's crazy is I was so into art at the time that I spent all my extra time in that animation class or in the art class, even though I just was failing in everything else. I just knew that looking back on it, that's what I can control at that time.
So when you dropped out, what did you do? You dropped out to do what?
I didn't, I really, between 18 and 20, this period of my life, I was just trying to figure out what was I going to do with this creativity, because I was really into dance. And I thought I was going to be like a backup dancer for Justin Timberlake, or, maybe Janet Jackson was going to come back, like some Rhythm Nation. Like, I just thought.
So you were into it that much?
Yeah.
So it was this guy that was at the what is that? Damn club Empire and all that, dancing in the back. That was you.
You can still find me doing that. You got tequila? You want to see it? No.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, a little history. There was a group that started during that time called Boogie Monstars. Mm-hmm. So I was in that group, and the founders of that group was these three guys: Kevin, Joe, and Phil. And those three guys went off to create Jabberwockies. Yeah. And so those are close friends of mine. And so that I learned from their school of dance, in the sense of like that style of dance.
You suddenly got all my respect, because if you were getting in the school with dancing, then you probably got some dance moves, baby.
I wasn't as good as them, but I was learning from them.
Shit,
for sure.
They got mad skill with dancing.
They do.
Yeah.
But and then that movement.
I thought when you said dancing, I thought you were like fucking around dancing.
Oh no, I was
you were like legit,
like
dancing.
Choreography, doing shows. And again, that's what I thought. I was like, I'm gonna be a backup dancer for someone. I don't know. And then as when I transitioned into performance, I was already this comfortable moving on stage. It's almost like a muscle memory. How like you move around, like you could move around in this ring, and visualize it. And if I were to if I put brushes in your hand, I was like, hey man, just move how you box. Like you would probably be able to pick it up quicker.
Okay, that makes sense.
I mean, we'll draw it out for you.
We'll do a stick
just
figure first.
This color goes in that number.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So, when was your first event, like big event, like boom, huge that you did?
So the first event I did was in 2003. I had actually been practicing in my dad's garage for like a month. So my dad was just worried already. He's like, I didn't have a job at the time, and I was dancing a little bit, but I just started practicing this new art form. So eventually I thought, okay, I think I'm good enough to perform this. So I go to this promoter, and I can't remember his name, but they were bringing Slick Rick to town, the old school rapper. And I was like, I want to open up for him. Like, that's how crazy I was. I was so crazy. I had never performed in my life. And I went to this promoter. I was like, I'm going to open up. I want to open up. And the guy's like, I'm sorry, doing what? I was like, no, painting. See these? I do these really fast to music. And he's like, yeah, so you're going to have to buy tickets to the show. And you're going to have to do your own setup. And I was like, done. And so this is even more how crazy I was. I packed up these 2 bags of like all these PVC pipes to make this backdrop, and this canvas that I painted black, and I put in 2 bags because I thought in my head, Slick Rick is going to see this. He's going to want to take me on tour. I got to be ready to tour. And I was that crazy.
So you have to be crazy like that.
I was crazy.
You have to see this vision.
Still am.
And you have to believe it, and you got to make yourself believe it so you can play that part. And I talk about it with boxing all the time. If you don't believe you can beat the person in front of you, you're not gonna fight that way. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's what you did. You made yourself believe that you were gonna do amazing, that he was gonna take you on this tour, and you performed that way.
Yeah, and obviously, he didn't take me on a tour, but I still had this confidence in
yourself,
my vision, of where I wanted to go and who I wanted to become. I knew I wasn't that yet, but I had to start thinking like what I wanted to become.
And what followed after that? Did you get more shows, or what happened?
Yeah, I just kept plugging away. I would just call people that I knew that put on events. I eventually called Empire Nightclub. Actually, before they even opened up, a friend of mine knew that they were under construction still, and he's like, hey, go talk to this guy, Bob Simpson. He's the owner. He may be there. Just maybe you should go ask him to perform there. So I went there. I was like, excuse me, can I talk to Bob Simpson? They're like, yeah, he's the guy over there with a hard hat. So I'm like, hey, my name is David Garibaldi. I introduced myself. And I was like, I want to perform here every Friday night when you guys open up. And he's like, and you want me to pay you to do this? I was like, yep. And he's like, well, you're crazy enough to ask, so why don't you bring I don't know, a proposal. So I was like, cool, I don't know what that is, but I'll go figure it out. And I went home, typed it up, printed it out, brought it to Bob maybe 2 days later. And Bob's like, this kid he literally thought I was crazy, but he gave me the job to perform every Friday night at Empire nightclub for the summer. So it was like a 6-month, spring to fall. And I really learned my chops there, in the sense of like, I was thrown into the ring.
Yeah.
It's like, learn how to fight, learn how to paint, learn how to adjust, thinking about portraits that were relevant to the audience and just learning the art of performing during that time. Yeah, and then locally, people that went to those events locally said, hey, can you perform at my company event? Or can you perform for my kid's school? And I was like, yeah, this is cool. And a lot of things came from that. Yeah.
From that door that you opened for yourself.
I mean, I kicked it down, I definitely kicked it down. And I forever appreciate Bob Simpson for really giving me the chance, because it could have been terrible. He didn't know that. He was just like, yeah, I'll give it a shot. Yeah. So I appreciate that and a lot of people along the way.
But that's something you definitely, like you said, you kicked the door down and you made it happen. And even if you would have said no, you probably would have found something else.
Oh yeah, I would have showed up.
That mentality.
I probably would have just kept showing up until he just told me to go away. Yeah. But also, I really believe that when I saw what Denny Dent could do, and it wasn't just the art, the performance painting, and how he engaged the audience, it was who he was able to reach. And I really believe that, well, if he can do that, and I didn't know what his background in art was like growing up, but I just thought, if that's possible, he did it, why can't I? Yeah. And that's just the thought I got in my head.
What's the most important part as an entertainer? Like, what is something that you think is very important? Because I have my opinion of what I think, but I want to know what you think is very crucial.
What I've learned is I am there to serve the audience.
Entertain.
And I'm there to entertain. And as much as I would love to paint certain things on stage, and I do a lot of time, I choose what I do, but I also think about who's in the audience. And my repertoire of images are so broad that in a way, even when I pick them, they still mean something to me. And so it's a mixture of what will entertain them, but also what will I believe in as well, because that's what's genuine. That's a genuine connecting moment.
I like that.
And to find a genuine connecting moment with every audience around the world.
Yeah. And that's funny you said that, because I actually preach that to my trainers here. Mm-hmm. I tell them, when they're running their class, don't put music that is for you, that you like. Yeah. Think about it, your members that are in your class. So if you have a whole bunch of people that like rock, put some rock music on. And think about something that's, like you said, you're here for them. Yeah. But at the same time, make sure it's fun for them and they're learning, and that's something that you believe in.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And I think you get to that point when you try something and you're aware enough to say, that didn't work. Yep. Like, I'm sure a trainer came in here and you're like, what the hell is on that with the music playing right now? Yeah. And maybe some people aren't always aware of, like, this is not connecting. Like, they're trying to read the room. And I think you have to be self-aware if you're in a teaching position, if you're entertaining, or just even leading in a company. Read the room. Like, see if what you're doing is working. Pay attention. If it's not, adjust.
Yep. And that's what people have a hard time doing, adjusting. But it takes time. Yeah. You got to fuck it up a few times.
You do.
And then you get the hang of it.
Exactly.
One thing I saw, man, you got the key to the city, man.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Dude, how was that? That's tight. That's something, man, one day I wanted to do. That's dope. You did it, man.
And it wasn't the city of Galt. Nothing wrong with Galt. Hey. It was the city of Sacramento.
That's fucked up. I like that. He said it wasn't Galt.
I'm coming for the Galt key next. No, yeah. So a little story behind that. I never expected it. Did not know what was happening. In fact, a friend of mine, Brandon Wells, kind of like championed behind the scenes and put it in the ear of people that I already knew in city council and politics and so on. And, he's like, this guy's done a lot of charity work in Sacramento, and he kind of like just dropped it and with them and walked away, didn't know they were going to do with it. And they all kind of came together and like, yeah, we should give this guy the key. So my friend Brandon's like, hey, let's go get a drink. I'm thinking that's all we're going to do that night. We're going to go, he's going to pick me up. We're going to get a drink. We're getting a drink. He's like, hey, I have a driver taking us to this new restaurant. I'm like, awesome. So we pull up to the back of City Hall, and I'm thinking, oh shit, I'm getting set up. Like, are there cops waiting out here for me? Like, was there a parking ticket? Like, did they put you up to this? We walk inside. I still don't know. We walk into the chamber, which is like they have all the seats in front of city council. And this is where it hit me that I was like, all right, definitely not getting arrested tonight. I see my parents. I see all of my close friends, acquaintances, people that help me on my team. Just people I'm like, what are you guys doing here?
Yeah.
And eventually, and they're talking about other really more important things in the city. And then they get to the point and they say, hey, we appreciate what you do and contribute to the city. And then they gave me this big shiny key, which does not unlock anything in the city. But it just symbolized like, creating in Sacramento what we didn't have and just trying to just encourage a better culture here.
And that is why, a lot of things I love about you, but I love that you are so proud of being from Sac. The things that you put, everything Sacramento proud, this and that, and I'm like that.
Yeah.
Identical to the core. What about Sacramento do you like so much? Yes. What is it that you like?
I love that in Sacramento we can create in this city, in the sense of meeting people like Bob Simpson early on, who I referred to, gave me my first performance job. He is an entrepreneur creating a scene that didn't exist before, a nightlife. As a performance painter, I can create a scene of performing arts here in Sacramento. Same thing with the fighting scene here in Sacramento. It's something that we live in a city where contributors are accepted. And just like you can give me a call and I'm an artist, I have nothing to do with boxing, but we support each other.
Yeah.
And I love that about Sacramento is the collaboration of ideas to help each other to make better what didn't exist before.
Yeah, that's tight, bro.
Yeah, so
mad love. That's dope.
I love it. I love the city.
That's tight.
Yeah,
I like that. All right, I'm gonna ask you some off the wall random questions that have nothing to do with what we're talking about.
All right.
And then when you answer them, before that, before we ask you that question, I want you to tell me if you have anybody that's listening right now that is a high school dropout, and went through the same thing that you went through when you were 18 years old. What kind of advice? What would you tell them? How would you pump them up to make them feel good about where they're at in life right now?
Yeah. It starts right now. It starts today. And I don't care, and you should not care what's happened in the past. It's done. It's part of your journey. It's part of your character now. But take every moment of your day that you have available to invest into yourself now. Now you take control. And now it's completely up to you and no one else from this point on. And so start with, what do you think about 24/7? What subject is that? Well, what does that relate to? And then go meet someone who's in that field and just talk to them about, is this a world that I want to invest my time into? Just start there. But it starts today.
Yeah, I like that. That's a dope answer. Next one is that I'm going to ask you is just first thing that comes to mind.
Yeah.
Favorite restaurant in Sac?
McCooney's.
McCooney's.
Sushi.
What roll do you like?
I like the Paint with Passion and Purpose roll. The Garibaldi roll. Kaizen. Favorite, the bikini roll also. Favorite of mine. Chatties. Yeah. Actually, I go in there like, you need a menu? I'm like, I don't need a menu. I just list down what I want. I know it by heart.
Tight. Next one is, tell me something about you not many people know. Share something.
Man, I share so much already. My favorite movie is Fantasia 2000 by Disney. It's a collection of different movies that are with like sound and color. They're about sound and color, and they tell stories. So I could watch that every day for the rest of my life.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
I didn't see that coming.
I'm into that. Yeah,
So you like Disney movies?
Yeah, for the most part. I like most Disney movies. I love storytelling, but I love that one in particular, Fantasia 2000.
All right. So what's the future for David? Tell us about your studio on Broadway.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So
that's important.
Currently moving into my new studio on Broadway and 5th. It's my private studio, but we will be holding different community events there to encourage either, youth in the arts, different charity events, or even we host a lot of studio experiences where I donate to charities a studio experience where the highest bidder gets a custom painting, a few hours with their friends, and Mikuni's also donates some sushi for that as well. So just, a place to create and raise money for charity.
Yeah, I told Ricky that video you guys made on Broadway.
Ooh.
That shit was fire.
Ricky kills every video that he does,
tight.
but I felt like I was like in a Nike ad, just not as in shape.
That video was tight. Yeah, it was tight. It was tight. I think that's pretty much it. Anything else you want to add on? Anything you want to say?
You know what? If anyone gets a chance, in the bio on my Instagram, there's a tag there for Creator X. Creator X is a nonprofit I started with my high school art teacher a few years ago. It's something that's really near and dear to my heart. And if you know any young creators that are middle school, high school, check it out. And if it's cool enough, have them sign up for our summer camp. And we hold a free summer camp every summer for mostly underprivileged kids in Sacramento that need to be creatively inspired. So check that out. Yeah.
And this is the same teacher that motivated you?
Yes.
That's
the same teacher that changed my life. His name is Sean Sullivan. And what his way of teaching changed my life, and it changed many other young creatives' lives. And so I thought, let's put that into a package and offer that to kids that are not in his classroom, that come from really anywhere in the world, that want to pursue a career in the arts. So we offer it for free. It's a 3-day camp, and hopefully we set them on a new creative path.
Hey, I like that. The story and everything behind it. Well, thank you everyone for listening. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for coming through.
Thank you.
And doing this, brother.
Thank you for doing this. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it, man. Mad love. Any feedback you guys can give me, send me a message. Send us a message. Check that link on his bio, and much love. We out.